Robert Heinlein's Starship Troopers. This is 335 pages, 14 chapters, and it is humanity's response to the first alien war. It doesn't talk a lot about who started the war, and in fact, when the main character Rico starts and signs up for the military, it isn't even a war, it's just like disagreements. So there is an invasion of Earth, but they don't really talk about it a whole lot. So this is a coming of age novel. Rico's the main character. He lives in North America and signs up for the military after high school graduation. So this is a retelling from his first person's perspective, and it is about the mobile infantry. So the military has all kinds of different jobs and pilots and all kinds of different things, but the frontline infantry has these exoskeleton suits called power armor, and really it's super easy to use. It's designed so that anyone can use them, that you really are just moving and it becomes an extension of yourself. So the training focuses on the individual, how they interact with each other, how they interact as a group, their training, that kind of thing. So yeah, like I said, the suit is supposed to be super easy to use. um, Rico comes from an upper class family, and so his dad owns a business, and they're like wealthy, and so he kind of is in disagreement about signing up. So this is a volunteer force, completely voluntary. It's really hard to get in. They actually put extra barriers in, medical tests, discouragement, even in before you sign up, there's a waiting period, all kinds of stuff to get you to reconsider. So it's hard to join and easy to drop out before you are, finished with training. But the carrot, the reward is that only in this society, this government, this future government, only those who have served in the military are allowed the right to vote and run for office. So that's the kicker. And the thinking is that even though that anybody can sign up and anybody can do it, by serving in a role in which you defend others, that person is going to think more about the group as a whole, as opposed to every man for themselves, individuals, everybody's a cowboy, that kind of thing. Me, thinking about the group because of that military service. So that's the ideal situation. That's what this centers around. That's the government, and they call it Terran. So that humans have expanded to other areas, and they have faster than light travel in this, and they call it a checkoff drive, and that's how they get from place to place. So this is told through flashbacks. So it starts off with a combat situation where he's currently in, and then flashbacks to boot camp, his time in high school. There's a military veteran who teaches morality and history, in which there's no quizzes or assignments. They just talk and discuss and debate, different moral philosophies and styles of government. But really, this focuses on the military. It's centered around it, how it is in relation to humans, leadership, everything. And it's really cool. Like the mobile infantry, they drop in their suits, they have a combat shell, and you're really not accepted until you've done your first drop, and you really aren't part of the team until you drop with others in your team. So, like I said, it's completely voluntary, hard to join, easy to leave. um, but this is a pillar of science fiction. Robert Heinlein is, this is 1959, and this still holds up today. I kid you not. This has tremendous influence. This has influenced everything from Ender's Game, Old Man's War, Halo, Iron Man, District 9, Aliens, James Cameron, everybody under the sun. If you haven't read this book, you can see it throughout popular culture in science fiction. It's just, I don't even know how to describe it, a pillar of pop culture. I mean, it was just it was way too short in my opinion. There was 335 pages and I wanted another 335 pages. So I really enjoyed this book. Since they are in power armor, they can jump a little bit higher so they can bounce. And so during training and, their phrases to each other, instead of stay sharp or be at attention, it is on the bounce. So they're always like, you got to be on the bounce and stuff. I don't know. I really liked that. That was a fun little thing. Supposedly, Robert Heinlein was in the military, so he modeled his experience. He had experience in the military and brought that into this with the boot camp. I really liked Rico's, the main character's progression, his military career. They start, wasn't even sure he was going to sign up, then all the way through his progression, he eventually gets to officer candidate school. So very cool there. Really enjoyed boot camp. Lots of fun. It was outdoor. It was training. It was more focused on leadership, activities, and working as a team as opposed to like learning the power armor. It was straight up like, this is how you interact with each other. This is how you interact with your leaders. This is how it was just super cool. So really enjoyed the relationship with his father. It was strained at first because he joined the military, and then it evolves as events in the book change. So I don't want to give that part away, but I really did like that. And also the support personnel. This compares to previous, this is set in the future. So previous generations, right? They had an administrative bloat around their military. There were cooks. There were, paperwork, lines of support, ammunition, all that stuff. In this, everyone drops. The cooks, everybody goes into battle. And so, I can see some downsides to that, right? Like, you might not eat as well if your cook doesn't make it through. But yeah, so I liked, their kind of differences between the current and, the ideal. But again, some really good stuff in here. The chapters were a lot longer than I liked, but that's okay. And like I said, I didn't like that it was so short. I felt like you could easily fit a whole nother book after he, gains experience and goes on these adventures. So, oh man, great book. Really enjoyed it. So, those were my two dislikes, and they didn't even seem that bad. So, two quotes. The noblest fate a man can endure is to place his own mortal body in between his loved home and war's desolation. So it's all about war, morality, leadership, putting yourself on the line. And then this other one is talking about the differences between past and current governments. So what is the difference between our voters and wielders of franchise in the past? We have had enough guesses. I'll state the obvious. Under our system, every voter and office holder is a man who has demonstrated through voluntary and difficult service that he places the welfare of the group ahead of personal advantage. And that is the one practical difference. He may fail in wisdom, he may lapse in civic virtue, but his average performance is enormously better than that of any other class of rulers in history. Wow. There was lots of he and stuff like that, but in the book, it straight up talks about women being the best pilots. So I don't know if that was just like an English language thing, but like we're living in a time today in North America where women can be drafted. But yeah, this absolutely great book. If you love science fiction, give it a look, give it a read. And as always, remember to buy your books used or digital.